Another chilling piece of Bigfoot evidence has surfaced. This time the footage is shockingly clear and uncomfortably close. Captured by a trail camera deep in the forests of Oklahoma, the clip was uploaded on October 9, 2025, by a group calling themselves Los Patrones. According to their account, what began as a routine exploration turned into something out of a nightmare. They described trekking through the woods when they began to notice something disturbing. Bones scattered across the forest floor. Remains of animals. Maybe even something else. The arrangement looked unnatural, as if left behind by a massive predator marking its territory. As they pressed deeper into the silence, that's when they saw it. A towering shape lurking between the trees, built like a man but wrong in every way. The group swears it was a Bigfoot, a hulking, dark figure that seemed to carry something small, almost like an infant clinging to its chest. When they finally retrieved their trail camera, the unease they felt was confirmed. The footage revealed a creature nearly identical to what they'd seen. The camera had first been triggered by a deer stepping into frame, its head turning nervously toward something off-screen. Moments later, the forest shifted, and a colossal silhouette moved into view. The video was slowed down for clarity, and the details are haunting. You can see the beast's muscular frame flex with every step, its thick shoulders rolling like those of a great ape. Even in the low light, its features stand out: a heavy brow, dark fur, and a face that looks disturbingly human, yet unmistakably animal. It lumbers forward, crouched low, keeping to the shadows of the trees until the feed abruptly cuts out. Oklahoma has long been a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings, but this one feels different, more real, more threatening. The uploaders insist the footage is authentic, perhaps the clearest proof yet that something enormous still stalks the backwoods of America. Fur footage you're about to see comes from the northern region of Chile, a place whispered about in hushed tones by locals. Legends say the caves here are more than just empty hollows. They are the hidden layers of alien shapeshifters. These beings are believed to slip unnoticed into the world above, taking the form of stray dogs that prowl the beaches under the cover of night. They scavenge quietly, blending into the shadows. But when they retreat to their secret dwelling, their disguises fall away, exposing their true, monstrous forms. The video reveals one such creature standing tall like a nightmare dragged from the depths of folklore. It resembles a towering goat-like figure with massive curling horns that gleam faintly in the dim light. Its limbs are disturbingly long with razor-sharp claws that glint as they dangle down, almost grazing the ground. For just a fleeting moment, the creature's arms seem to stretch unnaturally, as if the shadows themselves are playing tricks. Its face, twisted and reptilian, bears an unsettling resemblance to something draconic, or perhaps something far worse. Beneath the horns, rows of jagged teeth flash when it moves, and its glowing eyes pierce through the screen, sending chills that crawl down your spine. Many claim these entities have eluded discovery because of the isolation of their domain. Others insist the figure in the footage isn't alien at all, but something far more ancient. Some whisper that it's the Goat Man, a half-human, half-goat being spoken of in North American legends. Descriptions of the Goat Man tell of a hulking, horned figure haunting desolate places just like these Chilean caves. Could this be him? Or is it something else entirely, something that even the legends dare not name? Here's another unsettling Bigfoot video that's resurfacing after years in the shadows. The footage was brought to light on July 28, 2024, but its origins trace back to 2001, buried within an old nature documentary. Yes, you heard that right, a real untouched documentary from the early 2000s. For decades, people have tried to explain what's in the video. but it shows a herd of caribou sprinting nervously along the riverbanks far north in the frozen wilds of Quebec, Canada. But then something appears in the background. A dark shape, taller than any man, ducks low as if trying not to be seen, vanishing behind the thick brush in one fluid motion. This footage was unearthed from a nature documentary called Great North. The documentary was meant to showcase the Arctic's raw beauty and long-standing Inuit traditions. But this creature doesn't belong. Odds are naturally dark. It's formed, draped in coarse fur. Some viewers claim they see two figures moving, not one. Skeptics were quick to dismiss it, suggesting a crew member stumbled into the shot. But William Reeves, a cinematographer on site during filming, firmly denies this. He insists no one from the crew was responsible. The area, isolated and vast, required helicopter access. No hikers, no campers, no one was supposed to be there. So what was? Could something truly linger in those desolate frozen woods? A being that watches but never leaves tracks? Let me know what you think below. Tonight I'm bringing you the strongest new Bigfoot sighting, and this one is fresh. The clip surfaced on October 12, 2025. A lone man was cutting through a small Idaho forest on a biting evening as the sun bled behind the tree line. Twilight pooled under the pines, and the cold seemed to grow teeth. That's when he noticed them. Two upright shapes in the distance. One small, one towering. He stared for a breathless beat, then pulled out his phone and hit record. What he captured was brief, steady, and uncomfortably close, the kind of footage that makes your shoulders tense. The upload carried a simple caption: Bigfoot and baby seen in Idaho. In a thin clearing, the figures drifted with unsettling, human-like strides. Their coats didn't hang like costumes. The fur looked fused to the frames beneath, wrapping muscle and bone. Every movement felt heavy yet controlled, the kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself. There were no obvious seams, no rubbery bounce, no playful nod to the lens. Only that deliberate pace, as if the forest belonged to them, and we were the ones trespassing. Stories like this surface from time to time, witnesses who swear they didn't see one hulking silhouette but two, traveling together like a parent and its young. Those accounts arrive soaked in equal parts awe and dread. The adult is almost always described as colossal, 7 to 9 feet tall, draped in dark brown or black hair, gliding between trees with footsteps swallowing quiet. The smaller one stands around 3 to 5 feet, clinging close, copying mannerisms, walking upright but less sure, sometimes stumbling, sometimes crouching behind brush when eyes find it. That profile matches this Idaho footage almost too neatly. The larger form leads. The smaller shadows its wake, timid, reactive, and fiercely protected. You can feel the space bend around them, as if the woods themselves hold their breath. So what are we seeing here? An adult and its young crossing the edge of night, or a flawless performance cut for clicks? Tell me what you believe in the comments below. This eerie Bigfoot evidence comes from Vancouver Island. A witness stumbled upon strange oversized footprints deep in the woods, their shape too defined to ignore. Word spread quickly, pulling in cryptid researchers and curious scientists. They gathered in the cold, silently watching as the prints were measured and cast. Yet when they tried to replicate the strides, their attempts failed. The gaps between each step too long for any ordinary man.
There's 4 feet right there.
An investigator measures an unusual series of footprints left in the snow in Washington state. A cast is taken and failed attempts are made to replicate the 4 to 6 foot strides required to leave the trail.
The footprints stretched 4 to 6 feet apart, an impossible distance to cross without effort. Biologist and Sasquatch researcher John Binder-Nagel documented the case, his voice tense as he described the findings. Listen closely to what he has to say.
Work, photographed them, filmed them, actually followed the trail in the snow to where the Sasquatch apparently stepped onto some ground soft enough for him to make a partial captions, eyewitness drawings, tracks and track photographs and track casts. Very important to me, very compelling.
Those casts are...
These were happening from sort of midnight to 5 a.m., a lot of it. They would wake her up.
Finder Nagel keeps dozens of footprint casts he believes to be genuine, and now these unsettling tracks from Vancouver Island join his growing collection. Let's take a closer look at the prints. They're wide, unnaturally wide, and far longer than any human or animal known to roam the earth. Even the heel and toes are sharply defined, pressed deep into the frozen snow. For scale, human tracks and snow boots are placed beside them, but they seem almost childlike in comparison. Vancouver Island, tucked along Canada's Pacific coast, is whispered to be a Bigfoot hotspot, and Canada itself holds countless stories of these shadowy figures. I've covered many sightings from this region, more than anywhere else in fact. Something lurks there, this evidence, it might be proof we weren't supposed to find. Let's take a closer look at newly uncovered footage of the infamous Bigfoot. This recording, hidden away for decades, was originally filmed in the late 1970s, but only surfaced on November 19, 2024. It was shot deep within Honey Island, Louisiana by a wildlife researcher named Harlan Ford. In the 70s, cameras weren't common, and those that existed were often unreliable. That day, Mr. Ford carried an old 8mm camera, a fragile, jittery device prone to skipping frames. As he drifted along the marsh, something tall and dark shifted among the trees, a figure standing just beyond the mist, watching from roughly 100 yards away. The figure moves between the trees, and for a brief, uneasy moment, the camera zooms in. Black fur coats its towering frame, its posture hunched yet disturbingly human. Some scientists estimate it to be nearly 8 feet tall with a body mass of 500 pounds. Apes don't grow that large. Apes don't exist in Louisiana. Harlan's granddaughter, Dana Holyfield, uncovered the footage, felt compelled to share it, as if keeping it hidden any longer might invite something worse. Her voice trembles faintly as she recounts the day she found it.
Granddaughter of the local monster hunter. To me, it's like that's just a normal thing. But it wasn't until I got older, grew up, that my grandmother would come out with this big box, and it was all his wildlife photography. And that's when we saw this 8mm film. It was interesting to see that he actually probably got closer than what any of us really knew.
The History YouTube channel mentions that while Bigfoot sightings gained traction in the 1960s, whispers of a far older, far deadlier creature haunt the region's indigenous folklore. For centuries, locals have spoken of a monstrous being that prowls the swamps, once said to drag boats beneath the water, leaving nothing but floating splinters and pale, bloated bodies. Field researcher Cliff Berkman notes that the marshlands sprawling over 70,000 acres are a haven for such entities. Most of the area is protected, untouched, and eerily quiet. Berkman says the sighting could mean only two things: a real Bigfoot or something pretending to be one. In the 70s, without social media or viral fame, faking such an encounter seems pointless. Wildlife experts dismiss the notion of a black bear. The creature's stride is too fluid, too calculated, more man than beast. This footage, unsettling and raw, stands among the most compelling glimpses into the unknown. A piece of evidence that for some feels like undeniable proof of what lurks beyond the tree line. This part of the video is a little different from the usual. It's a retelling of a strange and unsettling story from the Thompson family, one they swear is true. Last Christmas, they say they had an encounter with something out there in the woods. And since Christmas is right around the corner, I thought it would be the perfect story to share. So sit back, listen carefully, and let me know if you'd like more stories like this. Let's begin. The Thompson family lived on the outskirts of a dense forest in rural Washington. Their small home, glowing with soft Christmas lights and a wreath swaying gently on the door, sat just beyond a snowy stretch of trees. It was Christmas morning, and Tom, his wife Sarah, and their 8-year-old daughter Ellie were enjoying the day as sunlight crept over the horizon. Ellie tugged at Tom's sleeve, eyes wide with excitement. "Can we try my sled now? Please," she begged. After a few moments of pleading, Tom gave in. Wrapped in warm coats and scarves, the family stepped outside into the cold, crisp air, their breath curling in the stillness. They made their way down the gentle hill behind their house. Ellie's laughter rang out as she sped down the slope, Sarah cheering softly, but as Tom's gaze wandered toward the tree line, his smile faded. About 50 yards away, just beyond the edge of the woods, something stood, silent and unmoving. "Sarah," Tom whispered, his voice low and tense, motioning toward the figure. Sarah followed his line of sight, and her breath caught. It was huge, standing well over 7 feet tall, its body cloaked in thick dark hair. Broad shoulders hunched slightly forward and long arms hung at its sides. It didn't move. It simply watched. "Tom, what is that?" Sarah's voice trembled as she pulled Ellie closer, the girl oblivious to the tension rising around her. Tom's heart pounded. Whatever it wasn't a bear. The stance was too human, but it wasn't a person either. It was too large, too unnatural. Tom shifted, stepping protectively in front of his family. Then slowly the figure stepped back, one quiet, deliberate movement. The snow crunched faintly underfoot. Another step. And then, as if the trees themselves swallowed it whole, the figure was gone. "Let's go inside," Tom said, his voice calm but firm. He gripped Ellie's hand and the family hurried up the hill. Once inside, the locks clicked shut and the curtains fell over the windows. Tom stood by the door, peering out into the fading light. "What do you think it was?" Sarah asked softly, her voice still trembling. Tom didn't answer right away. He stared at the forest, now bathed in quiet shadows. "I don't know," he finally said, "but I don't want to see it again." Even as the day carried on, the warmth of Christmas couldn't chase away the lingering feeling that something, out there in the woods, were still watching. The Thompson family would share the story among themselves for years, but it remained a memory they rarely spoke of to others, a Christmas they would never forget. On the evening of August 5th, 2023, deep in the heart of the Pacific Northwest, something strange was caught on camera. A homeowner living in a remote area stumbled upon an image that still haunts them and anyone who has seen it. The photo came from a trail cam positioned just 80 feet from their back porch, right where their land fades into the thick, dark forest. This part of the region is known for its towering evergreens, shrouded ravines, and eerie stories whispered over generations. The homeowner, an avid outdoorsman, had set up several trail cams to track local wildlife. Deer, bears, and even the rare mountain lion often wander through, and the cameras help keep an eye on their movements. One particular camera faced a small ravine, tilted upward to capture anything climbing down or slipping into the shadows. On that quiet evening, the homeowner had no idea something unexplainable was about to appear. When they checked the footage later, their hearts sank. The image revealed a long-haired, tan-colored figure walking upright on 2 legs. It stood tall, its posture unsettlingly human, yet there was no mistaking that this was no ordinary person. Its limbs were long, too, the arms swung low by its sides as it moved. Thick, shaggy fur covered its body, catching the faint light of dusk. Judging by its size, the creature looked to weigh between 50 to 80 pounds. Was it young, or was this its full-grown form? That question lingered as the homeowner studied the image. The head, rounded and featureless from this angle, bore what seemed to be a faint ear on the right side, but the photo's position made it hard to be sure. Stranger still, the creature moved away from the camera, climbing back into the dark forest without hesitation, as if it had been there all along. It didn't run or sneak away. Its stride was calm, as if it either didn't know it was being watched or simply didn't care. The realization crept in slowly. What was it doing there in the first place? Was it wandering by chance, or had it been closer, lurking near the house before drifting into the camera's view? The homeowner recalled hearing rustling in the woods that evening, but dismissed it as a deer. Now they aren't so sure. The forest around them suddenly felt different, less peaceful, more watchful. The Pacific Northwest is no stranger to strange sightings. For decades, stories of Bigfoot and other cryptids have swirled among locals. The deep forest and winding ravines provide the perfect hiding spots for creatures unknown. This photo, however, brought those stories uncomfortably close to home. 80 feet. That was the distance, not miles away, not at the edge of the horizon, right there, in the shadow of their porch light. The creature had been near the place they sleep, eat, and live their daily life. The homeowner showed the photo to a few close friends and neighbors. No one had answers. No one could explain it. The other images from that night revealed nothing else, just this one fleeting moment, a ghost in the trees. Was it a cryptid, a new species, or something far stranger? No one knows. But the homeowner now avoids the woods at dusk, and the trail cam has been moved closer to the house. They hope for more answers, but for now, all they have is that one chilling image. Feeling that whatever was out there may come back. New footage of what might be Sasquatch is spreading across the internet like wildfire. It was recorded in the early dark hours of November 2, 2024 at exactly 3:27 a.m. The camera was placed deep in the woods near Connorsville, Indiana, a remote, unsettling place few venture at night. The footage was submitted to Rocky Mountain Sasquatch by Josh Banker, a local man who sounded shaken in his message. "I checked my trail cams this morning. I think I caught something that shouldn't be out there," he wrote. His words were simple, but the trembling undertone was hard to ignore. The neighbors had whispered about strange, bone-chilling screeches that echoed from the forest at night. Some dismissed it, believing it was just wild deer spooking the dogs, but the noise was too long, too sharp. Josh had laughed it off once, but now he wasn't so sure. "I'm not stepping into those woods again without my .45, he muttered in his report. His trail camera, sensitive to movement and heat, clicked rapidly as if trying to capture something that didn't belong. In 4 quick bursts, the figure emerged, a large shadowy shape standing just beyond the reach of light. The second photo is the most disturbing. Its long arms stretch unnaturally wide as it strides across the frame. Its movements fluid but eerily off, almost predatory. No human walks like that. The quality isn't crystal clear, but there's enough to see. And what you see isn't comforting. Its broad, hulking frame looms in the shadows, its head low as if watching. Thick fur mats its body, swallowing light. Josh included daytime photos of the area, but even in sunlight, the forest feels heavy, as if something lingers. According to RMS, researcher Jeff Adams discovered massive, sharply defined footprints nearby. Deep in the mud, toes splayed wide. They measured 6 inches across. Too wide for any man, Adams had said. Jeff's family later claimed to have seen it too. Tall, dark, its silhouette standing silently at the tree line, watching. The first image from the trail cam deep in the remote Wyoming mountains seems ordinary at first glance. The sky is bright and sunlight spills lazily through the trees, casting long shadows over the gently swaying grass. The scene feels still, peaceful even, like the kind of untouched beauty only found in the wilderness. But that feeling doesn't last long. It's the second image that shifts everything. In the next frame, something stands where there was once only empty forest. The figure steps directly in front of the camera. At first you might convince yourself it's a trick of the light, an animal, maybe a bear. But the longer you stare, the less certain you become. The creature is tall, far too tall. Its silhouette is disturbingly human-like, but the thick, dark fur covering its body says otherwise. The midday sun leaves nothing to the imagination. Its posture is odd, slightly hunched as it moves, long arms swaying unnaturally low. There's something wrong with its proportions. If you zoom in, you'll see its right hand is huge, far too large for even the biggest person you can imagine. The hand alone could wrap around a grown man's head with ease. Then there are the ears, sharp, pointed. They stick out at strange angles, almost like those of a predator waiting, listening. The trail cam sits only a few hundred yards from the cabin, too close for comfort. The thought that this thing walked so near to human presence lingers long after you look away. Beyond the cabin, the woods stretch for miles, merging with the distant mountains, a perfect hiding place for something that shouldn't exist. Strangest of all, this was the only sighting. The camera captured nothing before and nothing after. One fleeting moment, a single encounter. Was it just passing through? Or is it still out there, hidden somewhere deeper in the woods? The answers never come, but the questions are impossible to shake. The trail cam owner doesn't sleep easily anymore. If the creature came so close once, what's stopping it from returning? This is one of the more unsettling Bigfoot photos to surface. It appeared on Instagram at the start of the year, much like other eerie Bigfoot sightings. Little is known about its origins, leaving people uneasy. But the image itself is sharp and disturbingly clear, almost too clear. I knew it had to be part of this video. Take a look. The photo reveals a light brown creature standing in the shadows, its fur matted and heavy. Every detail feels too vivid. The deep, furrowed lines across its forehead, the way its dark, glassy eyes reflect light, and the unsettlingly human curve of its mouth just barely parted. Focus on the hand. Hairless, long and strangely human-like, but larger, unnaturally so. The fur thins across its chest, exposing thick, sinewy muscles beneath. Its body is hulking, tense and rigid, as if it knows it's being watched. This photo raises more questions than answers. Skeptics insist it's nothing more than a high-end costume, while others claim it's far too lifelike, too wrong to be fake. I'll leave it up to you. Do you believe, or do you see something more? On the night of June 14, 2021, Mark, a homeowner living near the edge of the woods, captured something strange on his trail cam. The footage seemed ordinary at first, a lone deer standing still, gazing into the distance. But the longer Mark watched, the more unsettling it became. That night he remembered hearing something, a low, deep growl rolling out from the trees. It was the kind of sound that makes your skin crawl, heavy and distant, but sharp enough to linger in the back of your mind. It wasn't a noise Mark recognized, not a bear, not a coyote. This sound was darker, almost unnatural. It seemed to hum through the trees, resonating like something alive. Mark couldn't record the noise, but when he reviewed the footage, he saw the exact moment the deer, calm and unaware, suddenly stiffened. Its head jerked toward the forest, eyes wide and locked on the shadows just beyond the camera's view. The air in the footage seemed to shift. The deer didn't move, frozen as if sensing something Mark couldn't see. It wasn't curiosity. It was fear. The forest beyond his yard stretched for miles, thick with underbrush and ancient trees. These woods. He'd spent years walking their paths, but this felt different. Whatever made that sound wasn't just passing through. It was watching, waiting. Neighbors had whispered about strange noises before, but Mark always brushed it off, until now. The trail cam sat barely 50 feet from his house, too close for comfort. The way the deer stared, as if tracking something unseen, left Mark with a lingering chill. Was it a predator, a bear, injured and angry, or was it something far more unknown? The late-night stillness made the growl seem louder in Mark's memory, echoing long after it should have faded. He tried to shake the feeling, but every time he looked at the footage, the same thought crept back. Whatever it was, it hadn't gone far. When people ask for close-up proof of Bigfoot, they usually mean a clear glimpse from a safe distance. But this next piece of trail camera footage is too close for comfort. Captured deep within the woods, the camera seems to have recorded something right in its face, something massive, hairy, and disturbingly alive. The clip begins with static, the kind of digital hiss that fills the silence before something happens. Then, a blur of movement, thick, wiry brown hair floods the frame. You can make out the bottom of two enormous, sturdy legs moving past. Whatever it is, it's walking upright. The creature's stride is deliberate, the motion too smooth and vertical to be a bear or any known animal. At one point, it appears to brush against or nearly kick the camera, as if irritated by its presence. The device, mounted low to the ground, trembles violently. For a split second, the lens catches the shifting texture of the fur, coarse and matted, glistening with dew or sweat. Then darkness. Silence. Many researchers claim this brief encounter is genuine, proof that a Bigfoot stumbled right into a hidden camera. They point out the creature's hair length, its body mass, the shape of the legs, all too different from that of a bear. Others remain skeptical, arguing it's just a misidentified animal caught at a strange angle. Still, there's something unnerving about the footage. The scale feels wrong, the movement too deliberate, as if whatever passed by knew it was being watched. The debate has split the community wide open. Cryptid believers insist it's the closest evidence yet. Bigfoot caught mid-stride, unaware of the lens below. Skeptics say it's nothing more than a wild bear brushing by in the dark, but after watching it, you might not be so sure. So what do you think? Was this the closest look yet at the creature that haunts America's forests, or just a trick of fur, light, and fear? Let me know down below.